for. So he'll be calling in shortly to share his thoughts.
Global Tel Link.
There we go.
Have a prepaid call from Perry Thompson.
All right.
An incarcerated individual at the
They'll give you the prompt to press 5. Give him about 10 seconds.
California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
All right.
What up, Perry?
Can you hear him okay, Dusty?
What's going on, Dusty?
Yes. Nothing much. You also have my co-host for our show, Lonzo Williams, on the line. Say hello to Lonzo as well.
What's up, Doc?
All right. What's up, Lonzo? How you doing, man?
Oh, man, I'm doing what I'm doing. Just sitting here trying to do this show with Dusty, man. Just trying to drop some knowledge when we can.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, so Perry, let's talk about your book, definitely, because I know you have a book giveaway coming soon. And before we jump into talking a little bit about your life story, tell us what the book is titled and where they can find it.
The book is titled Striving to Be a Failure, The Reality of Gangs, Jail Cells, and Coffin. And it is available on Amazon in ebook and paperback.
All right, let's talk. We'll definitely get into the details of that later, but I want to give them an idea of your life. I did kind of give them a brief update that you are currently, serving a life sentence, and you are, I believe it was 18 years. You're 18 years in. But can you take us back to your life a little bit, Perry, and talk to us about your life leading up to what happened, to where you are now in your situation?
Okay, so I grew up on the east side of Los Angeles, 59th place between Main and Broadway, an area that's controlled by the East Coast Crips. I was a member of the East Coast Crips. I was born and raised in that area. Growing up in that environment since birth, crime, guns, violence, just the entire destructive culture was normalized for me as a child. I grew up across the street from one of the headquarters of the East Coast Crips. Many members of my families were members of the gang. And, just early on in my life, I was taught how to, do a lot of destructive stuff. And as time going on, I picked up all these different destructive traits. And by the time I was 12 years old, I decided to join the East Coast Crips. And from that point on, I continued to go further and further in my destruction because I had already started, committing crimes before I joined the gang. But once I joined the gang, I started fighting people more. I started shooting people, robbing people, just doing the things that gang members do. And that went on. I was in and out of juvenile halls since the age of 12 years old for all type of different stuff. By the time I was 17 years old, I was what you may consider a reputable gang member. I was fully infatuated with it, and in honor of it, I took someone's life when I was 17 years old. I would eventually be convicted for taking this young man's life. I was sentenced to 50 years to life in prison. This year is going on my 19th year of incarceration. This July coming up. And from my experience, I wrote a book. The book we talked about a little while ago. I wrote my book in the effort to break the destructive cycle, in the culture that I grew up in. The way I grew up at that time, it was just so normal to just go outside and fight another little kid, to have your family members cheering you on, fighting another little kid, all the whoopings and the just the aggressive culture that we grew up in. And growing up in that lifestyle, it was all inflicting great trauma on me as a child. And I went and did what I seen everybody else doing around me. the culture was contagious. And I ended up in prison with a 50-year life sentence by the time that I realized how destructive my upbringing was and how it contributed to me sitting in this prison cell. So with that, my participation in it and me being in prison for the last almost 20 years, it led me to realize I was striving to be a failure.
Mm.
All I was doing was waking up every day, going outside with all intentions to be destructive. I fought people, shot people, robbed people, lied to people, gang bang, and whatever else I thought I could do to bolster my name. And what's really sad to me now about it all is I did all that for acceptance. Because I was a little kid that wasn't getting loved how I needed to be loved. And the gang gave me that false sense of acceptance and love to the point that I was willing to go out and kill somebody for it. I was willing to kill to be accepted. And this cycle continues to go on right now within our community. And this inspired me to write this book. Because being in my situation and seeing a youngster come through here, 19 years old, and tell me, yeah, bro, I got life without the possibility of parole. And then I get to knowing, yeah, he in here for some gruesome stuff, but that's not who he really is. And then as I get to talk to him and I hear it, yeah, I grew up in the hood. Yeah, my mama was on drugs. Yeah, my family members made me fight. They told me, boys, don't cry. They told me, don't let nobody call you no punk. You got to go outside and fight. The same cycle. And now he's sitting in here. And for me, I don't got life without parole. I still, fortunately, got a board date. I got some action at getting out of here. But them youngsters that come in here and they got no action and it's just all bad for them, that breaks my heart. Because society isn't seeing this. And it's regular. The bus pull up, 18, 19, 20, black and brown, jumping off the bus, life without parole. Don't know what they done got themselves into. And I just want to give it to them raw and get it out there before I have to meet them in prison and start trying to, guide them to help them put themselves in a position to get out. I want to help them before they even get in here. And that's why, I continue to say,
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
We must break that cycle because the subtitle of my book is the only place that culture is leading to is a jail cell or a coffin. And that's a little bit about me. If you got any more questions, just let me know. I'll be happy to ask them.
Yeah, we have a few people in the chat room right now who says the book has great reviews and they've promised to buy one. Shout out to Marlon Cozy. Easy Steve mentioned it has great reviews, and shout out to Sedborn. He said he's going to buy one as well. I'm just posting a link in the chat if you guys want to get this book. It is a great read. I bought a couple myself, so please do support my dude. Lonzo, did you want to chime
dude,
in or ask up Perry any questions?
Tell me about your home life when you was coming up before you got locked up.
Well, so early on, it was pretty normal. My father he was in and out of prison most of my life, so I grew up with a stepfather. My stepfather was a good man. So I say my early years. When I say my early years, I say probably from birth to like 7 years old. Everything was normal until around 7 years old. My earliest memory of tragedy, I have a older sibling. She was 8 years old. She was ran over by a car and killed. And from that moment on, now that I'm older, I can see that is where my life really started to change. I believe personally that's when my mom started to use drugs. And, from from that point on, like going to school throughout my life was like, it wasn't like prioritized. I went to school sometimes. Sometimes I didn't. I didn't really go to school. There was a drug use in my house. You know, some of my uncles were heavy users. My mom was using, and as I stated earlier,
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
you know, their headquarters was across the street, and many members of my family was from the gang. So, you know, there was just traffic, you know, coming in and out, and all these, most of it was all just, you know, teaching me destructive stuff. But one of the highlights of my childhood that I believe really changed was when my mom, she started to isolate herself after my sister's death. And I remember being a kid banging on her bedroom door trying to get in the room, and her coming out and hitting me and telling one of my cousins to take the crybaby, taking me a little crybaby. And my cousin was a member of the East Coast Crips, and he used to take me to sit across the street on that porch with them, starting at around age 7, right after my sister passed away. And from about that age all the way up until I was arrested, I was on the porch with the gang members. You know, they taught me how to shoot guns, taught me how to fight, they taught me how to sell drugs, had me out there at 9, 10 years old, snatching purses. And at this time, my mom is, you know, she's using, but at times, you know, she gets her stuff together, and she be on me. She started making me go to school, but it was never really sustained. And then I'll say around 13 years old, somebody called the California Department of Children's Services, and they came to our house looking. Somebody had reported us, reported my mom, and they came to our house, and they took my siblings. I was in the streets already, gang banging. When they came, that was one of the reasons why they took my siblings, which is something that I still to this day kind of feel guilty over. When they came out to the house looking for, you know, us, my mom couldn't even tell them where one of their kids were. One of her kids were, so that solidified them taking my siblings. Then I went on a run, and pretty much from that point on, I was either shipped out to Lancaster where my aunties were. I never stayed. I'll go out there for a month, maybe a month or two, and then I'll run away and I'll go back to the hood and be over there gang banging until I get arrested. Then once I get arrested, I'll go back to my auntie house again, and I'll run away and I'll go back to the hood until I get arrested. Until this time, I was finally arrested for murder, and I've been sitting here ever since.
Tell them about our show. We got 2 more minutes. Tell them about our show real quick about that we do every Sunday called This Ain't It. Perfect title.
Yes, This Ain't It comes on 7 o'clock on Sundays. You know, we talk about the destructive culture that continues to lead our youth to death or incarceration. And I hope some of you guys tune in. Love to I'll get to know some of you guys and see some of you guys in the comments. You know, help us promote this positivity and save some young lives. Yeah, tap in, please. Thank you.
And the book, one more time, is Striving to Be a Failure, The Reality of Gangs, Jail Cells, and Coffins. And one more person, OG Steve, was a huge supporter of the show, said he's going to buy one as well. So we're glad to help out, you know, in this venture, Perry. And we're definitely going to have you on the show sometime in the future as well. Any last words, Perry, before you head off? I know we probably got about 1 more minute before they give us the old hang up.
Oh, yeah, no, and thank you.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I appreciate the questions, and I look forward to continuing to do this work and work with you as well.
Thank you, my brother. Hey, call me tonight at 7:30 real quick.
You said who?
Call me tonight at 7:30 real quick.
I will. All right.
All right, folks. Much love, man. Stay
All
up,
right, my
man.
dude. Talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
Thanks again, man. Thanks. Appreciate you. Lonzo, I do that show every Sunday, and sometimes it's really hard, man, because all these kids out there, they're just striving to be a failure, just like the title of his book. After hearing his story, what are your thoughts, man?
Dude, I've seen this a couple different times. I've seen it, and it's amazing the magnitude or the magnetic draw that the streets have for youngsters at a certain age. And in most cases, in a lot of cases, not all, a lot of youngsters are used as pawns to do different crimes, keep the OGs from going to jail. And I wanted to ask him how much support he got from the hood since he's been in the jail.
Oh, I'll answer that right for you. Zero, dog. Zero, homie. He said he doesn't even talk to his boys anymore. I mean, months in, it was all over. Once he started with not able to give to the hood, they were forgetting. Now his sister, and his mother just unfortunately passed away, which was one of his biggest nightmares. She just passed away in November. So now he only has a sister on the outside, your family. That's the only people there at the end of the day.
Now imagine when he touched down finally, ain't nobody there for him when he get ready to get off the bus. You're talking about he got 50 to life. If he does 30, I don't know how the sister is right now, but hopefully she's in the position to help him get acclimated back into the world. Because one of the things that cast people realize is that technology is moving. It don't move in jail the same way it move on the streets. It don't move the same way. I used to, my partner used to work at a Terminal Island. We would take a busload of kids to Terminal Island, man, and just let them talk to some of the prisoners. And one of the guys who was getting out in like 10 days, he said, man, the biggest fear I have is getting out of here and not knowing how to survive. He said, when I came in here, we still had cell phones and pagers and payphones.
Yep.
They doing something I never did before. I don't know about no cell phone. I don't know about that. I don't know about no faxing. I don't know about this. And he was just, he said, dude, I'm scared. He been there for like 15, 20 years. I'm scared. I get out of here in like 10 days or whatever the case may be. And I'm just telling y'all, this ain't no joke, man. It ain't nothing cool about it. Ain't nothing fun about it.